That's
One
good.
of the key things about writers in residence is I'm trying to create a curriculum that simulates authentic writing, how real writers, professional writers work, how adult writers produce. And I know for myself, all the writers I've met over the years have been in writers groups. And it's really important to find peers who are working at the same developmental level of as you are as a writer. So I want that for the kids. I do think you'll get, if we really want to have a vision for developing the creative gift that God has given each one of our kids, then we've got to get them eventually. I'm not saying this, I think families have to discern the right time, but eventually those kids need to be in a broader circle where they can share their work and be inspired by how God is expressing himself through the creativity of another child, where adults other than mom or dad or grandma are giving us feedback and reacting to what we've produced. So that's what we want to facilitate, both with writers in residence and readers in residence. So groups, whether they're online, virtual, or in person, whether they're small or large, that's always going to be a part of any curriculum that I write, because I think it's important to leverage there's just a lot of learning potential in a group context, especially in these skill development areas that are so important.
And one more thing just to add in, I think as a parent, it's nice having either an online group or a co-op just for accountability's sake and making sure you're not falling behind. A lot of times, just knowing that there's an assignment due and you're going to be sharing it with the group on a certain day, it pushes you to make sure, okay, this is a priority that we need to get done. So,
yeah. Hey, so Katie, can you validate any of what we're talking about from your own homeschool experience, having the opportunity to share your writing at co-op versus what you did at home?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely, I mean, I remember before we had the main co-op, we had a writers group. I think it was twice a month, but just mainly to share. I mean, one thing I remember is in that writers group, there were a lot of different levels. So there always was someone whose story was quite long. And then some of us who maybe weren't as creative. But so it was interesting to hear how other kids, interpreted the assignment. But then, I agree with Heather, the accountability and also just the motivation as a kid. I mean, I loved sharing with my grandparents, but at some point, you get a little tired of just sharing with grandma and you want to share it with someone else and maybe see how another kid reacts to your story, especially if you're trying to write something funny or something along those lines. So